Guys, Brooke Van Sickle here with Journey to Kidlit, and I just wanted to walk you through a developmental edit today. I just finished one of these for one of our fast track clients, and so I just want to kind of introduce you to what that looks like, because a developmental edit is something that every story should go through. This looks at your big picture items, and it's the very first step in the editing process whenever you're working on a new book. So essentially what this is it looks at all of the higher level components of your story. So your characters, if you have multiple characters, it's going to dive into each one, whether or not they're necessary, if the arc is there, the internal arc, if those are there. Then it looks at your plot, which includes your pacing, maybe your setting, those kind of things in your actual plot itself. Is the plot arc working? Do you have that one external driver that's moving it forward? Is everything connected? For my picture book friends, if you have too many ideas in your story, your word count will normally be really high, and that will get addressed in the plot issue, where it'll be like, oh, there's way too many ideas in this one. We need to cut back on this. Which one is actually the most important? What are you really trying to say? And then we look at your voice and your language. Is this appropriate for the category you chose? Is there a better category that might be better for you? If you're rhyming, is there a proper rhythm? Is there anything you could do to play or up level the writing a little bit? And then additional notes and thoughts. This can be from marketability. It can be from the heart of it. It could be from formatting issues or word count issues, things like that. Anything that doesn't fall into those major categories, it'll all get addressed in here inside your developmental edit. And what you want to do with this after you get it done and you read through it, sometimes you have to give yourself a day to really absorb it. But then you're going to want to go back through and re-look at your story, look at those revisions and say, okay, this is someone's opinion. Everything is suggestions. It's clear that something that I'm trying to do with my story isn't coming through, whether or not what I'm trying to do and what they're saying are the same, but it's not readable. It's not coming through to the reader. How can I make it more clear? How can I make sure that my vision is happening on the page? How can I make sure I'm showing, not telling? How can I make sure that my reader feels grounded? How can I make sure that I have one cohesive idea that's driving the plot? My characters feel full, three-dimensional characters, all of the things, right? You want to address everything within the developmental edit before you move on to the next round, which will be line edits. A lot of the times when we're working with authors, they'll, immediately want a copy edit or a final proof. And really that happens so much later in the editing process. You really want to make sure you have these big components first, because this can be a major transformation for your story. When you are making these edits, you don't want to do any of those detailed fine letter editings, especially creating illustrations, until you have this done. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of a quick tip on today and helps you understand editing and the developmental editing process.